Hello, my friends. John LaRuffa here with another Unbiased unboxing. In this episode, we're going to take a look at Tramways Engineering Workbook 2. I'm also going to kind of compare it to the workbook number 1 because just for good news. So, all right, let's get started. Okay, folks, and as usual, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. And if you have, I really do appreciate that support. So, taking a look at this, it's not much to like open up and unbox, which is why I kind of figured maybe I would just compare it to Volume 2. Most of the people here who are watching this video and have, well, I'll say this. If anybody's looking to understand what's going on with Engineering Workbook 2, they've probably heard of Workbook 1. So we've got two different colored markers here. I think it's just so you can play two-player if you want to do it at the same time. You've got a rule book here, and here it talks about Volume 2 and kind of gives you the information, the scenarios. And what I read was that the difference here is that Volume 2 starts with all of the rules in play. So you know how to do everything. All the puzzles are, two-player rules. All the puzzles are already, full rules and everything else. And so it's more of a scenario style that has all the information. Look at, you have all these different episodes and things like that, which is really kind of cool. Whereas Tramways Engineering Workbook 1 was a ramp up and it introduced new concepts as you went. So now look at the difference right now. You can see 1 is much larger. This is the original one than 2, but also 1 had an insert you had to use to write on. You had to write on this thing because the pages themselves did not do a good job handling the dry erase markers. So you always had to write on that, which I found was kind of a little annoying, and I think that's why they went away from it. Whereas number 2 here looks like all of these pages are much better. Yeah, these are all different. So look at the difference, right? They're kind of like dry erase mark pages. They should be just fine. And so just kind of looking at, as you start here, certainly looks, with episode, well, that's episode 2, sorry. Come on. All right, so just right away, episode 1, if you take a look at that, compared to episode 1 of the original workbook, right? You've got a lot more going on. So if you didn't want to ramp up your rules, you could get right into workbook 2, have the whole thing, have the whole situation under purview of all the rules and everything else. Whereas this book slowly but surely gives you more and more kinds of things to think about. As you go, they introduce new rules and different things. Puzzles get a little bit more, I guess you could say complex, but there's just more to deal with, all right, because you're ramping up the style of the game bit by bit, okay? Whereas here, each of these is kind of a complete scenario with all the rules in play from the very beginning, which I think is kind of cool. I also like that this is a little smaller, handheld, because where I like to play this game a lot is when I take trips. When I travel, I like to use it there. And having it in this, a little bit smaller makes it a lot easier. And you're not really giving up anything, right? I mean, I didn't need it to be as big as it was, so being a little more compact just makes it fit a little better in maybe a travel carry-on case or something like that. So lots of different puzzles, lots of different things to look at. They're all city-specific here, as you can see. In total, you're going to have in the workbook 2, you're going to have 28 different puzzles. All right, whereas in the original one was 48. So you had more content in the original, but here, each of the different workbook pages has more going on, right? All right, now let's just see how the dry erase, compares. Just go ahead and make some markings on here. See if it comes off pretty easily. So if I was to, mark away or something like that. All right, we'll give it a second. And then we'll see, okay. If I'm going to erase it, it comes off pretty good. Definitely happy with that. There's no problem there. So I think for those who are a big fan of Tramways, as I am, this is a natural pickup. If you want some more, haven't played in a while, Workbook 2 is going to be right up your alley. If you don't like Tramways, then obviously you're not going to like the workbook, I don't think, because this is basically doing the board game itself in a workbook style, puzzle style, scenario style gameplay. So great for solo, though, in my opinion. So thanks, everybody, for watching. I really appreciate it. Whatever you do in the future, I really, really hope you have a fantastic time doing it. Take it easy.